It's actually snowing or sleeting again a little bit, which means this is going to be a very interesting and fun video. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Stef ABtv. Welcome to the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio model year 20. And in this video, we're going to talk about why the Giulia Quadrifoglio is still one of the best cars that you can buy right now. As always, when I pick up a Giulia Quadrifoglio, it always tends to be very, very cold conditions, very slippery and grimy conditions, and it always seems to come with Pirelli P0 Corsa tyres. And if you don't know what that really means and what that translates to, well, quite simply, if I was to show you the levels of grip, well, there isn't much. But I'm trying to put some heat into the tyres. I'll let this guy through first. I've been trying to put a bit of heat into the tyres prior to starting this video so that we're not slipping and sliding all over the place, because that's the key thing with P0 Corsas, is they work when they're warm. So that's what we're attempting to do right now. Jesus Christ, this car is just so quick. It is so quick. So why do I still think that the Giulia Quadrifoglio model year 20 is still one of the best cars you can buy at this moment in time? Well, predominantly, if you go back a few years and you look at the model year 19/18, that in itself was awarded multiple awards for best car of the year. And what's changed in the model year 20? Well, from a chassis perspective, nothing. It's still great. From an engine perspective, nothing. It's still great. It's still the 2.9 litre V6 bi-turbo, which effectively is a Ferrari engine, although Alfa will never own up to it. Never. Listen to it. Once you do get a bit of power into this thing, and once you do get a bit of traction, my word, it sings. Absolutely sings. But yeah, I think the real difference here is this engine. It's a California T basically engine. The main difference really is one engine is rolled out of the front doors of Maranello Ferrari factory, and the other one is kind of chucked into the back of a lorry and taken to an Alfa headquarters somewhere and chucked into one of these. I guess that's what a lot of people are saying. Whether there's any truth to that, we'll have to wait and see. The other element as well is that this car was effectively engineered by the man who pulled together the 458 Ferrari. So go figure. If you want a solid car, this is one of them. Wow. Got to be careful there. Got to be very careful. That let go in third. Woo! Why else is this car brilliant? Well, let me park up and explain a little bit more, because me on the roads right now in these conditions, it's just not a good idea right now, is it? I've not picked a great day to come filming, let's be honest. As you can see, it's actually started to snow. Granted, not as much snow as when I had the Cayman GT4. If you haven't seen that video and you're new here, make sure to hit the like and subscribe. Plenty of content on many cars. But this is one of my favourite cars. It always has been. I absolutely love it. But in terms of what makes this one of the best propositions you can buy, we've already talked about the fact that it has a Ferrari inspired or derived engine, -2 cylinders off the California T. We also have talked about the fact that the chassis remains the same from the award-winning Giulia, so no real change there, and there's no real need to change something if it's that good. However, with the model year 20 car, we get a few extra things that you can get, or spec in if you like. The first, very noticeable, you can see the different tail lights on the rear of the car. Now these are kind of quite distinctive. I quite like the fact that they're dark. I first saw them on the Giulia GTAM, and I think they work really well, particularly against the red, but on a black car that would look insane. can't feel my hands. Now, the other things you can get on the Model Year 20 car are you can pay for an exposed carbon fiber roof, if that's what you want, very similar to what you get on the Giulia Quadrifoglio N-Ring. Of course, for the first time, you also get the option to have an Acropovich exhaust on this car, which I think would be pretty insane, as this one sounds a little bit more quiet than the old car, and that might have something to do with the Euro 5 or the Euro emissions, if you like, but it still sounds great when you get it into race mode. The other thing you get is, of course, the kind of heritage colours. You know, you can choose from the ochre yellow, the green. There's lots of colours you can choose from to kind of spice up the Quadrifoglio a little bit. But for me, the thing that makes this one of the best cars out there is its usability. Now, of course, from that 2.9 litre V6 bi-turbo engine, you get 510 horsepower, but you don't have to use all 510 horsepower. The Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio in itself is relatively kind of docile unless you really open the taps up. So much so that I think, you know, my mum could drive this thing if she wanted to in advanced efficiency mode. And that brings me on to that element of usability, because it's very nice to have that super track orientated car, but if you can't take it to the shops and take the family out, is it an everyday car? Probably not. My word, it's cold. The Giulia Quadrifoglio itself is also surprisingly comfortable as well. Of course, you get the kind of bumpy road mode in race, which stiffens up the adaptive dampers, but you put the kind of mild damper in race, it's very compliant over the bumps. You put it into comfort and normal mode, you really do absorb a lot of the bumps on the road, and that makes this car a very comfortable daily that you can take the family out in. The other thing as well, which makes the Model Year 20 in particular very, very usable, particularly nowadays, is the level 2 driving aid. So for example, the auto drive on the motorway, very, very good, and the traffic jam mode as well. I've used these a number of times, particularly when I took one of the Stelvio Quadrifoglios out to Wales for a shoot. I just kind of put it into drive and every now and again touch the wheel, and that makes this car brilliant. Oh my god, freezing, freezing. And then we get to the interior of this car, and again, arguably a very, very, very nice place to be. Now, granted, this doesn't have the Sparco Seatbelt bucket seat, Sparco bucket seats. However, this does give you heated seats. It does give you a heated steering wheel, and in this kind of time of the year, that's very welcome to me. Of course, Model Year 20 is updated from an interior standpoint. You've got a different kind of center console, a nicer kind of gear lever here, and of course the upgraded infotainment system. However, from a price perspective, these start at £67,000. You could get yourself a Model Year 19 car for 35,000 or 37,000. And for the major changes that they've made, I think that's still an incredible price point for such a brilliant car. When you start to look at its rivals, the M3s, the Audis, the C63s, etc., this comes in at the lightest of all. It comes in around about 1,542 kilograms, I believe. The BMW M3, I think it's 1,650, so another 100 kilos on top of this. And that's due predominantly to its lightweight parts. You've got aluminium all over the place, you've got carbon fiber all underneath the bonnet. And you can really tell the difference when you're driving it. So yeah, let me start her up and let's get back. Let's keep going, because, well, it's too cold. Once you do get that traction, and it's so good. And one thing I love about the Giulia Quadrifoglio, of course, you've got the 8-speed ZF gearbox. You get those really nice kind of cracks on the upshift. Listen, hear that? There's nothing really dramatic on the downshifts, but the upshifts are definitely a bit of theatre. Brilliant car. Of course, this car delivers 0 to 62 miles per hour in 3.9 seconds, but you know that because the old car did the same amount of 0 to 62. The difference between this and the old car is it just feels that little bit more refined. It feels that little bit more in line with its competition. It definitely gives the M3 a little bit more of a run for its money. Although Alfa have come to the party very late with these updates, because as you all know, we've already got the new M3 and M4 which have just been revealed and announced, and when those come to market and we can actually properly drive those, I do think that they really are going to come and give this car a proper run for its money. It'll be good to see if Alfa Romeo have any plans to release a newer version of this. I'm not sure, your guess is as good as mine. But one thing I can tell you is this car is just brilliant. You've got to be careful with it because Jesus, it slides. It literally is such a Jekyll and Hyde car, this thing. I love it. Absolutely love it. You can see this always happens towards the end of my videos. I always end up getting more heat through the courses. Look, second gear now, generally it starts to put a bit more grip down. Not much, but we do get a bit more grip. And that's the other thing. I guess my final thoughts on why this car is just so brilliant is that there are not many cars out there that intimidate you like this does. It is such a handful. It is such an ambitious way it delivers its power because, like I said, it's, you know, my mum could drive this providing that she doesn't put her foot down above 3,000 RPM, because at the moment she does that, unfortunately this will send her into a bush, as it sends many people. You really do need to be on this car, and yes, I'm playing around with it in race mode, but I wouldn't recommend people to drive this car in race mode on the courses unless you've got significant heat into those. Well, you can, but be really careful because it really is like driving on ice until the heat goes in. But that for me adds like the excitement. It adds to the excitement, it adds to the thrill. It gives the car, it gives me that theatre that I want from a brilliant car. And this is the other interesting thing, just to kind of give you guys a bit of a perspective with dynamic. So for example, dynamic now, it knows it's kind of slippery ice conditions. So I put my foot to floor, it cuts the power down and allows you to really kind of put as much as you can down, of course, it's traction control. But it also, if I floor it, it won't really give me 100% of the power. You see that? It was foot to floor, where if I did the same thing in race mode, you know what's going to happen. It literally just going to light the tyres up. Just like that. So it is really good in the sense that the active traction control does save you an awful lot. Although if you even in dynamic mode, you do need to be careful because it does let the car slide a little bit. So if you're not used to it, definitely be careful. But anyway, guys, I guess to summarize, you know, what are my final thoughts on the Giulia Quadrifoglio model year 20 and why is it still one of the best cars you can buy? Well, as I mentioned, it's the best of both worlds. It's much lighter than the competition, which means it adds more thrill to the drive. Now with the model year 20 upgrades, you know, you can get better exhaust, exposed carbon roof, nicer rear lights, but more importantly, the interior is upgraded to give you that more, what's the right word? To give you that more prestige feel. It's not amazing, but it's much better than it used to be. And I genuinely do think that this thing is one of the best performance cars that you can buy. Look at that, 0 to 60 in ice conditions. That's sub 4 seconds. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. My name's been Stef. You guys have been awesome. Please subscribe. It really does help the channel. And I'll see you all very soon on the next video. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.